I mean, just the little curiosities that have showed up, and I've learned a little more about it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
Now, what did the UFO that you guys saw, how big was it? What did it look like? What type of shape
well,
was it?
I'd say it was probably about 100 foot long, 20 foot wide, and 10 foot high. And when it was in front of us, it was cigar shaped. And then when we kind of got to viewing it off to the side, and it more the inverted pie tin type shape, because we were getting two perspective views of it. But if I see it, and I can see the telephone poles on each side of the road, and it looked like it right between them. It looked like it covered the distance between the two telephone poles just perfectly. But like I say, where we encountered it, there was a fence there, and then there was some telephone lines. So it came in up over the fence and then below the telephone lines. And when it got out into the field there, well, it was kind of moved where we looked, but when it was out there to one side, it was down low enough where it was lighting up the sagebrush. So.
Oh, wow. Now, I mean, did you look at your watch at all and kind of note what time of day it was? And how long?
Well, it was in the evening. It was in the evening. It had to be pushing 11 o'clock. But now exactly what time we got to Yuma, I never looked at the clock. I don't know. Yeah. Some people said they're missing an hour. I don't know. It was 2 hours, hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. We just kind of come back. And, of course, there have been several articles in the local paper about strange lights, and there was a couple of cattle mutilations around Yuma at that time. But I wasn't aware of that fact because I'd been in the hospital for approximately 19 days before this, and I hadn't been reading the local paper, so I didn't know until many years later somebody brought me by a copy of the local paper and then talked about the strange lights. Or, I might have said something and done something different, but that's water under the bridge.
Well, it's funny. The last time you were on Michael W. Hall's show, we came to a conclusion, something really strange. He went up to Mount Adams with his UFO I-team, 27th, 28th, and 29th of August. Now, it was kind of strange. They were out there late at night, and they saw like a object come towards them and kind of hover up there, and it kind of like flashed something, and then some of the people noticed, they said there was a blue light coming out of it, the side of it. Yeah, but here's the funny thing, okay? They stayed, after it left, they kind of talked about it and all that stuff. And then, Michael decided to go to bed. And he was in a friend's camper trailer. And he uses a CPAP machine to sleep at night. And, and it has a computer on it. It has a timer on it. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, it shuts off. So naturally, the alarm goes off. He wakes up. His friend goes, we'll put a different battery on it. And Michael goes, well, I'm going to go outside and use the bathroom, which was right next to the trailer. There was a little portable potty, with a, thing around there. So he was gone, he thought, for maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes, whatever it takes to go twinkle. He comes back, and, everything's hooked up. They go back to sleep. Now, what the strange part is that his friend in the morning says, where were you? And he goes, I went out to, go pee. And he goes, well, the timing, he lost an hour and a half. He was gone for an hour and a half out in the cold, freezing weather to go pee, comes back, and it's an hour and a half difference in time, which he can't account for it. Now, also, Timothy, it was really strange in his case. He wears a watch that glows in the dark, and it's the type that's fluorescent paint on the numbers, so it only holds the brightness of light for maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then it fades off. He said that when he woke up, that thing was bright, just shining brighter than ever. Really, really weird. The loss of time. Why would his watch all of a sudden in the middle of the night and dark all of a sudden start glowing? But we're not done with this story. Now, in the morning, right, he realizes he lost an hour and a half. They verified on the machine because it has a computer on it. There was an hour and a half the time of stopped. He can't account for the time. Now, during the night, it got so cold that some of the guys couldn't sleep in their tents, so they decided to sleep in their car.
Okay.
Well, during this time of this one encounter, there was a gentleman there from the group, and his son was in his 2-year-old car. And, he would start it up and shut it off, start it up and shut it off. And then all of a sudden, the battery wouldn't start the car. Well, I contributed because it was near zero there, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
At night, late at night. And probably the battery couldn't handle the draw, starting. Because, when you face it, you start the car and run it for 10 minutes and run the heater. It's not going to give really a chance to start, charge the battery.
No.
Here's the funny thing, though. In the morning, the car became magnetized. Now, we're talking big time magnetized. None of the other vehicles became magnetized. They even moved the car back, and checked the area, underneath it. It's not magnetized, only the car. Now, that happened at the same time, probably when that blue flash came out towards them.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so he got really concerned about his car, being magnetized. He takes it to the dealer. The dealer verifies, hey, this car is like a bar magnet now. You got your north and south pole charge. They start, the technicians at the dealership start going checking new cars and used cars on the lot, seeing if any of those cars are magnetized. None of them were magnetized. And what I heard, that the cars actually became even more magnetized after this period of time. And and here's the other thing. Okay, Michael the next morning, and a lot of this he didn't even realize till I had him on my show here about 3 weeks ago. And we were talking about what happened to him. And he woke up and he had like a pyramid shape, bite marks on his wrist, or marks, like pinholes.
Gotcha.
And kind of bruised a little bit. He couldn't figure out where that came from. So, we were talking on the show, and I said, hey, do you have, a compass or anything around? He goes, yeah, I got a compass. So he puts a compass next to that one wrist, right? It goes crazy. Now, he was wearing steel-toed shoes that night, boots. I said, okay, well, why don't you check your boots? The same side as that, his wrist, it was making the compass go crazy. Yeah. His boot was magnetized. Did the same thing.
On that side?
On that side only.
Which side was that?
I believe it was on the left, but I could be 100% wrong, and it could be the right.
Well, see, that was a discussion I had with Mr. Sims. But like I say, as far as Dr. Leir was, all the main implants he ran, all the metallic implants he ran into were on the left side.
Yeah, I think it was the left side. I think it was.
Huh?
I think it was the left.
Ain't that a curiosity, though, that just blow your mind?
Yeah.
Left side here shows up.
Well, here's Michael Hall, which, he was he's was a Superior Court judge. He's a law, practices law in the state of Washington. He's an attorney. And then, coming from anybody else, I would probably go, okay, well, you've been listening to my show too much. But, it seems so odd, this whole thing. It transpired, the loss of time, okay? Now his wrist is making the compass go crazy. His boot makes the compass go crazy. The guy's car was magnetized that night. I'm just wondering if they were scanned, he was abducted, and he didn't realize he was abducted because, an hour and a half to go pee next to a little porta potty, next to a little camper trailer? No way.
That's me. Me and my wife both. Our memories are very continuous and smooth. There's no warp or something, it's kind of like when I was getting my surgery done, and there was a fluoro scan that Dr. Leir had rented, and I'm kind of looking up at it, and I get near my implant, and it kind of looks like it skipped a beat. Well, the implant moved a little bit, but it looked a little weird. Like I said, I thought that was strange during my surgery, but like I say, for memories and stuff, I can vouch for why he wouldn't have a clue of being missing. I mean, it's so fluid. I mean, it's just uncanny. I mean, I've thought about it since 1978, so that's 40 years, and it's still there. And it hasn't ever changed on that one.
Yeah, have you ever had any nightmares since 1978, Timothy?
No, I really don't have nightmares. I haven't had any since I was a little kid. And I didn't, like I said, I have a lot of premonitions, or used to, but no, I really don't have nightmares. I can see when I'm having a dream that's a little not real, a little different things will happen, but sometimes they get a little odd.
Yeah.
And then, the ones that are really scary are the ones that don't. But no, I really, and I've never dreamed of aliens or UFOs or nothing. Neither has my wife. We've been asked that several times. And just, you don't, no, nada, nothing, nada.
Well, I think what they do is they basically empty your brain when they abduct you. And, even if somebody puts you under and tries to hypnotize you, I don't know if you would even actually get the actual facts, because I think they just, erase that whole encounter.
Well, whatever, yeah, Well, I had a friend, I learned a little bit of hypnotism, and he learned it in high school, and it was quite a novelty, but I could see where it would come from and how it worked, because, sometimes he got a little strange. He got a little carried away with his sense of humor on doing this to people. I mean, he had a couple of kids, I won't mention no names, but the post-hypnotic suggestion word was implanted, and he would use it once in a while just for laughs. So.
No, hopefully they weren't girls.
No, but, hey, I really jumped on him one time. I said, you got to quit it. He says, you're getting way too scary anymore. So, but yeah, he'd learned how to do it. He just must have a knack. He was good. And, that's just, the way hypnotism works. I don't, all I know is it's something there that's a little different. So, I don't know the answers. All I know is that I run into it and it's odd.
Well, one thing, some people you can't hypnotize them. I mean, I've been,
Well, yeah.
And they couldn't hypnotize me. They tried, and it didn't work. But then the other people I've known that had it done, I mean, they were out faster than you could count to 10. And they were doing some weird things, totally uninhibited.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I had Yvonne Smith, and, he's a professor at Wyoming. Both of them tried me, and we wasn't getting anywhere. So that was always one of Dr. Leir's. He was always, in fact, I'd met Bud Hopkins, but we didn't have time. But, I had seriously tried twice. Leo Sprinkle, and but nothing. And, I think different people, different ways. And that's just the way it is.
Now,
or we're not all the same, so, hey. But like I say, there's something there, that's, can affect and modify behaviors in a lot of ways. And like I say, you get some part of it and you don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I got no memory of being abducted, but how come I can't be hypnotized? Well, I have no idea.
Well, that could be...
your guess is as good as mine.
Well, maybe also when you were abducted, too, they kind of put a block on it, but you couldn't be hypnotized.
Well, but maybe yes, maybe no. And like I said, I haven't tried my wife, but, but like I said, we've never had nothing, and, that, and then I had an older man that I ran into many years ago, his name was passed away, Russ Judy, who encountered UFO in 1930 when he was a young man, and about 6 or 7, and he was always wondering what had happened, and when he found out about me and Mimi, because he grew up kind of around here before my time and was gone. But and like I say, was a decorated veteran in the service. The guy was